plays Coriolis. I will be running my party of 3 through a campaign called Fear and Loathing in the Third Horizon. I'm your GM, Matt.
My name is Adam, and I'll be playing as Kalia al-Rufai, a chemically dependent news hound from the Kua system.
And my name is Charlotte. I am going to be playing Luna, a relic hunter from Amido.
And I'm Nathan. I'll be playing Xanafar Il-Kadif. He's a spacer technician type who is pretty germophobic.
Excellent. So, Coriolis, we're going to be running it as sci-fi horror, and we're going to be opening episode 1 here with all 3 of you on board your ship, the One for Sorrow. You're not actually conscious at the minute. The ship has just come through the portal in the system Melik, which is along one of the major trade routes between Kua and Dabaran. And we're going to start the game with all of you coming out of stasis after the portal jump. And before we cut to any of you, the first person that we're going to cut to is Kalia. And Kalia, you're the first one to be woken from your cryogenic stasis sleep.
What's my state of mind upon coming out of this state?
Confused. Very confused. You've basically been frozen for a few days. Your origin was the system Dabaran, which is where your patron is from. It's also where you've just received this shiny old/new ship. And you've basically been traveling for about 5 days to get to this point. And you've been in stasis from before you entered the Dabaran portal till now. So you've been in stasis for about 2 days, which isn't a long time, but it is 2 days of basically being frozen. And as the stasis bed is starting to defrost and your systems are being basically primed to wake you back up, your eyelids flutter open and you see a figure kind of standing over your stasis bed. The figure is, you're basically inside your stasis pod, which is also called a stasis bed, which is effectively a pod with like a glass lid. And, there's I don't want to say condensation, but as it's defrosting and the temperatures are regulating, the glass is not perfectly transparent. And you can see this figure standing there. It's an adult human wearing like a white coat and what looked like some sort of dark trousers, dark hair. You think it's possibly a man, but you can't really see any details.
A white coat as in a medical professional, or a white coat as in a churchman?
No, more as in maybe a lab coat, or like maybe a medical coat, something like that.
Mm.
And you're kind of trying to blink away. As you're trying to kind of blink away the stasis sleep, you kind of, in between a blink, the figure's gone. The figure's not there. As the doors to your stasis pod open, you don't see anything else in the room that you're in. The other stasis pods to the side of you, where the rest of the crew are in stasis, are still completely closed and locked down. What do you want to do?
I call out weakly in my confusion, "Curly, get the tire iron! The bailiffs are at the door!" And I fall off the bed.
Fall out of the bed.
Fall out of the bed.
Good morning, Captain.
You're...
I did not understand your input. Please repeat.
It's Jill, the ship AI.
I come back to myself somewhat. As I stand down, you were very helpful as ever.
I do not understand, Captain. Please repeat your query.
I do not understand, Captain. I get up, scratch my arse, and first priority is going to be getting dressed.
Okay. As you head over to the locker where your clothes are kept, you hear the sound of the other stasis pods starting to awake.
Mm-hmm.
And a few minutes later, both Luna and Xanafar are experiencing the same thing without the kind of hallucinogenic figure standing in front of them.
Mm.
So, what do you two want to do?
I will wait until the door is fully open, unless I have to open them myself, and then just slide my legs over and just sit there for a few seconds trying to regain composure or mental faculties So I'm assuming it'd be pretty disorienting to come out of that right away.
Yeah, definitely. Initially, you wouldn't want to kind of just hop out and start, running around. So yeah,
Doing a jig.
Doing a jig, right? And Xanathar.
Xanathar quickly exits his pod before the lid's even fully open, and his limbs are shaking spasmodically. His head is kind of like shaking back and forth, up and down. And he starts rubbing his arms against his skin, and he's very pale, and he's got very short, coarse, black, almost like 5 o'clock shadow over his entire body, which is normally hairless and invisible to others due to clothing. And so he makes a beeline straight to his locker, removes a tube of gel, and starts going through his post-stasis ritual of rubbing this instant hair-removing gel all over his body, lathering it everywhere. Every square inch of his body gets covered for hair removal.
Oh, sexy.
Okay. While he's just after he kind of hops out of his stasis bed, once again the ship AI pipes in.
Engineer Xanathar, it is not recommended that you move so quickly directly after stasis sleep. Please sit down and try to calm yourself.
Yeah, if anything, he appears more agitated at the voice, and he kind of like pantomimes, like waving his hands, like shooing a fly away, and he's mumbling under his breath about germs, microbes, clean.
Please repeat your query, Engineer Xanathar. Germs?
I pretend to cough.
And he's kind of like shaking as the gel is taking effect, and his teeth are chattering, and he's just like just scrubbing at his skin, trying to get all the hair off.
His 2-day shadow. I'm not actually sure if you would grow stubble when you're frozen. Probably not. Anyway.
It may be entirely in his own imagination.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Psychosomatic stubble. Can I come over?
Yeah.
So I don my traditional outfit. I slept in my clothes, basically trousers, boots, shirt. Pop on my coat, my soft felt hat, my round rim glasses, and a urea-soaked face mask. Face mask, that is. And then get down to business. I'm going to step over to Luna. I'm just going to jab a finger gently into a collarbone. It's like, did you see him? Or her? The professor? The sawbones? Did you see them?
No, see, what have you been taking? How long have you been up for?
I only been up for 2 minutes. But I tell you, there's someone with us on this ship. I knew it was too good to be true when we bought it.
Well, it is a new ship. We'll have to work the kinks out. Who knows what's lingering around here? I mean, what was the history of this thing anyway?
You bought it from a slightly shady salesman in the Dabaran system, who basically told you it was a ship. It was a station which was damaged during the Portal Wars about 200 years ago. He purchased it through a number of intermediaries and then converted it into the ship that you're in now. The bit that you're in now is actually part of the new ship attachment, not the original station. It's basically where all the residence areas, the stasis pods, even the bridge and all that kind of thing are in the new part of the ship.
Well, maybe our AI was playing tricks on you, or maybe we have ghosts. Either way, Aikuna Hafes.
I know what I saw. I ain't lost it yet.
Query, Captain. What did you think you saw?
So, it's fading. Someone in a coat, a white coat.
Interesting, Captain. I am not familiar with human sleep patterns.
Jill, report status on the reactor.
Engineer Xanathar, reactor is working as designed.
Hull integrity.
Hull integrity is 100%.
All right, he takes like a small tool and kind of it emits like a green light over his body, and it kind of like evaporates the gel as he finishes his ritual and begins tugging himself into a thermostatic suit, which will take a few minutes. His lips are moving as he's like kind of like talking to himself, but he's not actually like mouthing any word, or he's mouthing the words but not actually speaking.
And while he's going through his rituals, I get up, head over to my locker, get my clothes on. Unlike some other people here sleeping in their clothes in stasis is not a good idea.
So, should we fast forward a little bit and 5 minutes later, after you're all dressed and ready to go, where do you all want to head? Normally, what you would do is after exiting, coming out of stasis, you would head to the bridge where you'd get your course set for wherever you want to go.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I think Xanathar is actually going to head to the reactor engineering area first before the bridge, just to do a visual inspection. And also, once his suit is on, he does don a survival mask, so he's like in a self-contained unit. None of his skins. So he heads there first.
Okay. It's right at the back of the ship, so it's going to take you a good 10 minutes to get back there. Okay, Kalia and Luna, are you going to head to the bridge?
Sure, yeah.
Is my presence necessarily required?
You're technically the captain of this vessel, so
can I delegate?
You can try. Yeah, sure.
All right, I'll put it to Luna that she's able to pop in the course on her own. Question mark?
Yeah, that works. I'll head up and see how things are up there and get us going.
Thanks very much.
So Luna heads to the bridge, and Kalia, where are you headed?
I'm going to go to my office.
Your office, your suite. Yeah. Okay. So you head to your suite. Luna, you head to the bridge. We'll start with Luna in the bridge. You get to the bridge, and you can see that the course has already automatically been set. It's just waiting for somebody to tap the button that says go. Your destination is the planet of Jana, which is the second planet from the white star in this system. And specifically, you've been asked to go to some kind of large structure called the radiation spires, which are on the surface of this planet. And we'll get into that a little bit later when you get closer to the planet, like what you're actually meant to be looking at.
What does the bridge look like? Like, is there a viewport to see outside? Or?
Yep. There's a viewport taking up most of one wall, and then there's 4 curved desk panels with seats behind them.
All right. Okay, I move up to the panel that has the red button on it, and slowly press it, and then just stare out at the viewport for a few minutes, watching as we start to move. Being from where I am, being in space is still something relatively new.
Okay.
So
sure.
I'm still awed by it every single time.
So you push the button, and pretty much instantly the ship responds. Thrusters dotted throughout the ship basically correct the course and align the ship towards the current where Jana currently is in its orbit, and then the ship very slowly starts accelerating away from the portal.
And then Xanathar is going to query Jill as he's traveling through the hall. Engine status.
Engines are at prime status, Engineer Xanathar. Why is it that you ask?
Destination.
Destination is the planet Jana in the Melik system.
Jana, destination. Must inspect the engines and reactor, and he's just kind of talking to himself as he keeps going.
All right. Kalia, you're in your suite.
I'm preparing my potions and lotions to rejoin the waking world.
Okie doke. All right.
It's a very arcane set of tasks. A lot of tubes and needles.
Okie doke.
While this is going on, I'm watching past broadcasts that I've been a part of on a hollow screen.
Okay, so you're narcissistically self-medicating.
Mm-hmm. In particular, I'm watching a particularly celebrated broadcast from a few years ago when we were reporting on the anarchistic nomad groups that occasionally make their way across the system.
All right, how long do you plan on staying in your suite?
Till it's all gone.
Okay, all right.
All gone.
Okay, so the ship's moving. The ship is starting to head through Melik space. It's going to take about 60 hours or so to get to Jana, so about 2.5 days. Is there anything else you want to do before we start kind of fast-forwarding time a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Xanathar is going to inspect all of the engineering locations at the actual reactor area and kind of like do a visual inspection without actually exiting the station. And once he's satisfied with that, then he will, I guess, probably go check out the bridge
Okay.
and spend most of the journey on the bridge unless he has a reason to leave.
Okay. You do your inspections. You see nothing out of the ordinary. Everything's exactly as you left it when you went into stasis, and you're satisfied, I assume, unless you want to check it again.
No.
Okay. You head back to the bridge then. Kalia, once your self-medication is finished, do you want to head to the bridge too, or are you going to keep watching?
I'll go, and just gently prise myself out of my seat and sweep like a wraith through the hallways towards the bridge.
Okay. When you sweep into the bridge, the other two are already in there. And Luna's basically just kind of... Are you still stood, Luna, or are you sat one of the desks?
I'm sitting down at my gunner station.
Okay, you're sitting down at the gunner station, but you still have a really good view of the through the viewport. That's kind of majestically showing you the blackness of space and the stars in front of you. It's just as Kalia is first coming onto the bridge that Jill pipes up.
Alert. Ship in proximity.
What the hell is that?
Xanathar's already swiping his fingers across the panels and interacting.
Yep. So Xanathar would be sat at the engineering station, I guess, right?
That or sensors. He might actually hop over to the sensor station if no one's sitting there.
No one's sitting there. Yep.
Yeah, he's gonna like curse under his breath and like hop up and just run over and activate a sensor sweep.
Okay. You do a quick sensor sweep. You don't need to roll anything for it. There's a ship kind of heading your way with the transponder is on and transmitting Legion codes.
All right, and then he's going to go ahead and do a scan for class, occupancy, maybe like a thermal sweep, weapon scan, that sort of thing.
So you just realize the transponder is pinging back a Legion code, and as you do the first of the basic kind of sensor passes on the ship, it blinks back that it's a destroyer.
All right, so as soon as all the feedback starts coming back on the sensors, like that it's a warship, he immediately cancels the scan.
Yeah.
Captain, it's a war vessel. It looks to be the Legion.
Xenophian fascists off the port bow, huh?
Indeed. Yep. So just a point of clarification. When you're close to a portal in any system, it's quite normal for there to be a fair amount of traffic. It's as you start getting away from the portals that traffic slowly starts kind of petering out. But yeah, what do you want to do? Do you want to wait and see what happens? Do you want to engage?
Are they hailing us?
Nope, they're completely ignoring you at the moment.
That seems all to the good to me.
All right, and then he's gonna have calculated the distance. How far away are they? And is there an intercept course?
In terms of range within the game, they're basically at medium range at the moment, and they are heading towards the portal station.
How large is our Marine battalion on this vessel, or is it just the three of us?
It's just the three of you.
Yeah.
And our AI.
and your AI.
Well, I fancy our chances.
Yeah, we'll send her first.
Oh, and Kalia's hallucination.
Free arseholes and their invisible friends.
Okay. I'm assuming you're not doing anything. Is that right?
Yeah, if they're not going to bother us, I don't think we should bother them.
Okay.
So I think Xanathar is going to open like a side like comm channel, and just see. He's going to title it to the operator on the Legion vessel, asking if there's any Corsair activity on the way to Jana.
Okay. You try to open the communications with the vessel. It completely ignores you. You get nothing back at all. And eventually it is going past you, completely ignoring you. It doesn't change its course, doesn't change its speed. It just passes by you without a word.
Is there a window per se?
You mean like a viewport?
Yeah. Is it like a screen, or is it like a literal porthole?
Yeah, it's basically like a very thick window that you can see out.
Proper double
Transparent.
glazing.
Yeah, like quadruple glazing. Yeah.
I'm gonna get up on a chair and also the console, lift up my coat and shake my arse at them impotently but satisfyingly.
Okay. You do so. Nothing happens.
And I yell at her to sit down.
No, I won't.
Captain, I'm curious as to what you're doing. Please explain.
I'm getting my kicks the only way I know how.
How does Xanathar react?
I think he's distracted by like all of his hollow screen. He like glances over and sees the theatrics, and just looks for a minute, and then says something about like microbes and like shutters, and then goes back to his
Okay.
panel.
I think that's best.
Okay.
Don't indulge this behavior.
So you're all on the bridge. It's been about half an hour since you woke up from stasis. And what is it you want to do for the next 60 hours?
I'm going to split my time up between the exercise area and the arboretum, just kind of relaxing and getting the joints moving again for whatever comes up.
All right. Kalia, Xanathar?
I take a lot of comfort food out of the fridge.
Mm-hmm.
I raid our stores of fine spirits, and head back to my office to try and do some air quotes writing.
And since the space station doesn't take care of itself, he's going to.
Does it not?
Xanathar will leave nothing to chance, so he's going to inspect the 4 escape pods, and then he'll head to the weapon dispensers and make sure the accelerator cannon, autocannons are all loaded, the torpedoes are all available, and then wrap up in the hangar bay that has our shuttle in it, and he's going to power up the shuttle and make sure all the systems are working on that.
Okay.
And I'm assuming that'll take most of the trip. So.
Yeah, I mean, basically between sleeping and waking, yeah, that's gonna. I mean, if you just want to spend your entire time checking and double checking all the ship systems, that's absolutely fine. Okay, so basically, Kalia, during the first kind of the first 4 to 6 hours of the trip, Jill pings you wherever you're at,
Mhm.
and basically informs you when there's another ship in proximity.
Mm-hmm.
How do you want to respond to these? The first one, she can give you basic information about them. They're basically being picked up by passive sensors, roughly when they're about medium, what we would call medium range from you.
Mm-hmm. I think I'd take it case by case. How many do we see over this period?
We'll say like in the first 4 hour or the next 4 hours, there's 2 more.
Mm-hmm.
The first one, when you ask for more information, you're informed that it's a tug ship.
I laugh at Tug. No further action.
Yep, and it just kind of nothing else happens other than like Jill just informs you that there's a ship in proximity and then it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Another 3 hours or so later, there's another ship, and it's a slightly bigger ship, a Class 3. Well, you're informed that it's a Class 3 vessel.
Mm-hmm.
The
Affiliation?
The transponder is giving off a very posh-sounding ship name.
Ooh.
The Golden Sands of Sadal. Probably a luxury private yacht.
Okay. Can I, from where I am, can I send a message across ship to ship?
I guess you could do some very basic stuff through Jill. You
Mm-hmm.
could just ask Jill to kind of send a recording or send a message for you.
Just to send best wishes across to these job creators, and to enjoy the fresh cup of blood they're having with their breakfast, blood of the workers.
Okay. Jill informs you about 5 minutes later that there was no reply.
Oh, was there not?
No.
Some people are so rude.
Okay. This continues. There are basically, over the course of, say, the next 12 hours or so, there are another 3 ships. All 3 of them are Class 3 ships. 2 of them, the first 2, do like the previous ones did and don't give you any kind of response. They don't try and hail you or anything like that.
Are they floating shag pads as well?
No, one of them, the kind of the transponder code you're getting back makes you think it's more of a kind of an attack vessel, an attack ship, probably a mercenary. The fact that it's got its transponder switched on is positive. Then the next one has a religious name to it, so probably a pilgrim vessel. Again, they don't hail you or anything. But the third one is a courier ship, and they actually instigate comms with you this time.
Oh, Coriolis.
Where are you currently? Are you on the bridge? Are you in the mess hall?
I'll be on the bridge.
Okay.
I've got a little bit done this morning. I'm sort of scrawling in illegible to no one but me, spidery handwriting on a few sheets of scap or whatever we got.
Forming in front of the viewport is the head and shoulders of a portly man.
Salam, I am Farid Galani. Who do I have the pleasure of speaking with?
This is Kalia Al-Rufai, the finest journalist on the Third Horizon.
Ah, a journalist. Excellent. Do you work with the Bulletin then?
Do I?
No.
I think we're private these days, aren't we?
Yeah, you're a freelancer.
I'm actually going to opportunistically fudge it and say that my news crew is between gigs at the moment.
I see. Well, not a problem at all, Sahiba. I'm heading out of the system soon, and I would be most pleased to carry any messages you have. Perhaps back to your clients, or maybe back home. As a courier, your messages could be in better or more discreet hands.
May I have a moment to just speak to the rest of the crew?
Mm-hmm. You put him on mute. Yeah.
Okay. We have a little huddle, and I don't necessarily have anything I want sent just at this time. No, it's all first drafts at the moment. So I asked the other guys if they want anything sent.
Have I diagnosed any sort of mechanical issues or anything like that?
No.
Anything out of the norm?
No, the ship's running fine.
Do we have a specific purpose for the radiation spires right now?
You do indeed. You're basically going to meet a contact of your patron, who is your patron's called Ayan again, and your patron basically there's a family friend who is a new researcher at the radiation spires. The radiation spires being a portal builder, kind of massive artifact. There's a research station nearby them, and basically she has some information that she wants to pass on, but she doesn't trust to communications that are going to be sent across two systems. So he's kind of excited about this because anything involving the portal builders is, game for his channel that you guys are the newest journalists on.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I said that we really have nothing, or I really have nothing to need right now, but maybe we could pass our contact on to the courier. And if the courier needs anything from us, then he can get hold of us at a later date. But for now, we have to get on our way.
Okay. Adam, he's kind of muted, but you can see he's kind of like bopping his head, kind of waiting for you to come back.
It's delicious. But what about you, Xenophar?
Don't bother me. I'm working. You want the shuttle to work, don't you? Can I hostile being interrupted? He's like up to his elbows.
Fair enough. Okay, I'm going to come back to the courier then.
Mm-hmm.
And convey what Luna's suggested, that perhaps we could swap deets, get on each other's WhatsApp, etc.
Well, that won't be necessary. I was simply offering my services as I'm about to leave the system.
Where is it you said you were bound?
I am bound for Kua, Saiba.
Okay. I wish I knew if I had any family. I haven't really thought about it. Okay. In the ancient form of, well-wishing, I say smell you later.
Is that actually what you say, smell you later?
No, I say something equivalent. I say something setting appropriate to just say, no, but thanks for asking.
You say Alvida, which is how you would say goodbye.
Alvida.
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 He kind of nods his head.
Alvida.
And his he instantly kind of disappears. When he realizes that you don't actually want to send anything, he drops the joviality and just waits long enough to be civil to say goodbye.
In the darkness of the bridge, I say to myself, I think I made a friend.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so you're kind of now a little bit further away from the portal. It's been about 18 hours or so. Most of you are kind of tired and I guess heading to bed. Do you guys want to kind of set up a watch, or are you all going to kind of be heading like...
I would like to set up a watch.
Okay.
And Xenophar will rely solely on Jill for waking him if there's any need.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm putting my faith in Jill as well, so if Kalia wants to stand watch, she is more than welcome, but don't bother me until the morning.
I'm sure Kalia can chemically manage to stay awake through the first watch of the night.
I head off to my room, muttering about parasites and eating coffee. Eating the beans.
Nice. Okay, well, about six hours later or so, there's no other ships that you kind of come across. Now that you're a little bit further from the portal station. You're coming up to a point which is a space station. It's an outpost, maybe about 4 to 6 hours from the first planet in the system, the planet of Al-Alam. And as you approach it, you see that they're putting out a kind of recorded communication.
To all ships in the area, the planet of Al-Alam is in need of urgent assistance following a terrible natural disaster. If you are able to help, please contact this outpost as soon as possible.
And it's basically on loop.
So we've already woken up then, or was I awakened from sleep?
No, you're still asleep. You're both both you and Luna are asleep. This will just be I guess, yeah, just be Kalia on the bridge or wherever she's at. If she's not on the bridge, then as soon as the communication is kind of picked up by the ship's sensors, it would have been you would have been made aware of it.
Crunch, crunch, munch, munch on my coffee. I head to the bridge. I haven't seen anything all evening. Evening being a somewhat vague term for this lonely vigil.
Mm-hmm.
But in need of stimulus, I'm going to impulsively dash up to the bridge, and we're going to investigate this a bit closer.
Okay. As you're running up to the bridge, can you give me an observation roll, please?
Okay, just a sec.
Observation is wits plus your observation skill. You have a 4 in wits, but no observation ranks, so it would just be rolling 4 dice.
Okay, 0 successes.
Mm-hmm. Right, that's fine. So you've got a kind of uneasy feeling in the pit of your stomach, but you can't quite tell why.
I have jack shit to back it up, though.
And then you're on the bridge. You just think something's not quite right, but you can't quite place your finger on it. But you're a little bit distracted by by this bit of news. It's probably been close to 24 hours since you came out of stasis. You're still awake, and this is the first little bit of interesting news that's happened in a full 24 hours.
Could you help me out here? Like, what is the next step in finding out the origin of this trouble?
Yeah, so you basically just, I've kind of...
Short of just riding headlong into it, or is that the next step?
You're coming up to the outpost. The outpost is simply broadcast that there's some sort of disaster happening on the planet and they need assistance. So I guess the next step, and they've said to contact the outpost. So the next step would be to contact the outpost.
I'm going to contact the outpost.
Okay. Are you going to wake up the other two, or are you going to contact them first?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet to wake up.
You contact the outpost. You're as soon as you get within kind of active sensor range, and instantly somebody's head and shoulders, a woman's head and shoulders, pop up on the screen. There are dark circles under her eyes, and she says,
Salam, are you here to help?
Ghost! Oh, sorry. A little bit away with the fairies there. What seems to be the trouble?
There are fires burning out of control down on the planet. We urgently need to evacuate people.
What are the cause of these fires?
Al-Alam is the closest planet to our sun here at Melik. so it's not unusual for fires to burn within season. But this is a particularly bad one. It's not helped that there is a pilgrimage happening at the moment, so there's a higher number of people than usual down on the planet.
What's your name?
My name is Rana.
Rana, I can tell you something about myself. I love meeting new people.
Does that mean you'll help?
Rana, we will.
Ah, thank the icons.
We've got this fantastically roomy boat.
Ah, excellent. We'll be in touch shortly about how you shall receive the refugees. Alvida.
And she, without saying anything else, she basically disappears. And as you're getting closer to the outpost, you see that it is just a space station, kind of a small space station, not as big as yours. And you can see now, slowly getting larger through the viewport, the planet of Al-Alam ahead of you.
Does it look on fire?
You can't tell from this distance. It's tiny in the viewport. You can also see some lights kind of moving in the proximity of it as well, so you're assuming other ships helping with the evacuation. Do you want to wake up the others?
Yeah, I'm going to race down to Xanathar first.
You don't need to race down. You can just hail them on the comms.
I'm wired. I race down.
Right. Okay, as you're running away from the bridge, give me another observation roll.
Another 0 success, I'm afraid.
Okay. Do you want to push the roll at all?
How do I do that? Yes, I will. How do I do that?
You basically need to pray to the icons. So effectively, you're running from the bridge. You're in one of the corridors of the ship, heading towards the cabins, the suites, which aren't that far away. And you once again have this really uneasy feeling.
Mm.
You're not exactly sure what's going on. And you're kind of a little bit distracted, but you try and figure out why you feel uneasy. And you can't figure it out. You're still running through the corridor. And so you could throw a prayer to one of the icons to effectively...
I'd say Kalia is an uneasy agnostic, but in her revved up state, she's prey to funny notions and is not above throwing a quick prayer the icon's way.
The gambler is the kind of patron icon of observation. So if you were to throw a prayer to the gambler, that's kind of what you would do here.
Yep.
Okay, so that's fine. You throw prayer to the gambler, and you can push the roll.
Okay.
You're not having much
no
success here.
successes.
Oh, come
that's
on.
my,
4
that's my
twos
third
has to count as something.
consecutive 0. Absolute fuck all. God is dead.
I'm taking a darkness point for that. My first darkness point of the game.
Okay.
Yay. And you just
I'm
cannot
bloody
figure
happy
out.
for you.
You just cannot figure out why you've got this uneasy feeling. And
Can't see the forest for the trees, mate.
and you basically get to Xanathar's suite, the door to his suite.
I whisper to Jill to awaken him from stasis, and I make sure my face is literally an inch away from his. We're nose to nose, that
you don't gain access to his suite, unfortunately. You kind of give the command to Jill, and Jill replies,
Captain, I have been given strict orders by Engineer Xanathar not to wake him until the designated time. Why do you wish me to wake him?
Because I said so.
Interesting, Captain. But why?
In what way interesting? Jill, that's a non-word. It doesn't really mean anything.
Interesting.
You say interesting, I hear Kalia, your scum. Do you see?
Interesting. Captain, you have not answered my query. Why is it that you wish to wake Xanathar from his appointed time?
Because we free lowly worms are about to become messiahs to a whole tribe of displaced people. And I feel like he'd want to be awake for that.
Interesting.
And the doors slide open. And Xanathar, you hear Jill's voice interrupt your dreams.
Engineer Xanathar, awaken.
I'm going to be right above him.
As you're kind of marching up to him. Yeah.
He's been sleeping in his thermostatic suit without the mask. And so as Kalia approaches, she can see he's kind of fumbling for his mask. And I think it falls on the floor. And he kind of starts and panics as he reaches for the mask. And she catches him with his mask off.
I'm gonna give him a chance to put the mask on. I have that much respect for boundaries.
Okay.
You also haven't showered for 24 hours, so
yeah. Yeah, so I let him put the mask on, but then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to get over him on his bed. I'm going to support myself on my hands and my feet, and I'm just going to be over him.
Well, physically.
And I'm going to whisper.
He's on his...
I'm going to be physically over him. I'm going to whisper very, very intensely. It's like, an opportunity has been placed in our laps to become a part of history.
He's just like, he's like so shaken by her behavior that he kind of smiles in like nervous anxiety, and he like actually is fumbling to like get the mask on, which he's done like hundreds of times before. And so I think it even actually like falls. Can it go under the bed?
Sure, yeah.
It rolls under the beds, and so he kind of like sprawls on his belly and is now like reaching around and activates the illuminator on his thermostatic suit, and finally grasps a hold of the mask and crawls out from the bed and is finally putting it on.
Okay.
I say, you beautiful little worm. Can you feel the hand of Providence on your shoulder?
And there's just like the sound of silence. And then breathing.
Way to leave me hanging, Xanathar.
Why have you wakened me?
I give him a somewhat garbled, but the message gets across. Basically just relay what's happened on the bridge and where we're going.
We must change course. I must scan the planet. And he starts going through like a litany of all the different kind of tasks he needs to do to make sure that he scans the planet before we actually orbit it.
I'm so glad, Xanathar, with all his neurosis, is not refusing this call to adventure.
Oh yeah, he's not in charge. He just wants to survive and not get infected. Okay, so he's gonna head to the bridge and then go to the sensors and start scanning the planet for gravity, indigenous flora and fauna, atmospheric conditions. Is he gonna need to be in a full exosuit, that sort of thing.
Okay. Yep. And you're gonna head to Luna's cabin next, Kelly?
Yeah, I won't rehash the whole thing, but she gets a similar treatment.
Okay. So how do you feel about being woken up, Luna, and with Kalia basically like
a nutter,
physically in your face?
Like I'm lying on the bed and she's on top?
No, let's mix it up. I actually get under the bed this time. And as she wakes, I am just a voice.
And what does this voice say?
Say, Luna, we've got a wonderful 24 hours ahead of us. It's time to rejoin the waking world.
Why?
I tell her what's going on.
Okay. Yep.
And my reply is no.
No what?
No. This is not our job. We have a meeting to get to. It is not our problem that people want to live near fire. If their place burns down because they live too close to the sun, not our problem. We have no idea who these people are. We will not be taking them on our ship.
I spring out from under the bed. It's like, our job is to find the news. Our job is to find human interest. These people have been displaced. Their lives have been destroyed. By reporting...
We find the news. We don't make it.
By reporting what comes out of the mouths of these poor little refugees, we will turn heads the third horizon over.
We report. We do not get involved.
You've got a very linear approach to these things. Anyone ever tell you that?
Has there been any talk of money?
I'm silent.
No.
There was no talk of money, but you haven't spoken with the people organizing the evacuation yet.
How close are we to the planet? Are we able to start to get some communication from the forces on the ground at all? Okay, I'll at the very least get up and we'll make our way to the cabin and see exactly the state of what's going on.
Is this
I'm not happy about this though.
Okay. Is this our understanding that you're going to ask about like remuneration?
Yeah, it's possible.
Okay. I might take this opportunity to get out my camera.
Okay. You've got a little handheld. You've got I guess like a tabula, which is like an iPad type of thing.
Now, does he have like a floating camera?
He does, but it's I wouldn't say it's kind of following him around. It's got a charge on it, which wouldn't last constantly.
But does he deploy it for this time?
She's very proud of it, though.
It's basically she has access to what's called a hollow drone, which is effectively like a floating camera.
I think as soon as she starts getting ready to record, Xanathar realizes what's going on, and maybe he, I think Xanathar might play the cameraman kind of role. Are you guys okay with that?
You know what? I would love that.
Okay, so you can basically control the drone from you've got like a wrist computer type of thing, right?
Sure. Yeah, and he also is adjusting the lighting in the bridge and tries to put Kalia in a good light and positions the hollow drone off to the side to capture her good side.
So the entire the argument you've just had with Luna has been captured. We'll say has been captured on the hollow drone.
That's great. It's all grist for the eventual Netflix show.
Okay. Well, once you get within range, about an hour later of the planet, you're able to open comms frequencies with the planet.
Okay.
And we'll just very quickly, rather than role playing the whole thing out, the deal is that they are desperately trying to get people off planet. They have fairly large vessels, which with atmospheric entry, which they can bring people up to ships in orbit. These are kind of transport ships. They don't have stasis beds in them. And basically, they are asking for people to take as many people as they are willing to take. You'll be paid 1,000 burr per person that you can take. Everyone trying to evacuate are more than happy to be put into stasis for a period of time. But the deal is you'll be paid the 1,000 burr in Dabaran, which is the closest kind of civilized system to here, no later than the end of the next segment, which is about 6 weeks away.
Is 1,000 a lot?
Well, it depends how many you take on. You have 80 stasis beds on this ship.
Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we take them all.
There are 3 of you currently. So theoretically, you could take 77 of them and put them in stasis.
Okay, so at this point, knowing this, we should have a conversation as to how we want to proceed.
So Xanathar's going to pull up the schematic for the ship, and the ring has like 6 like habitats in it. Can we say that there's maybe like a dozen stasis pods in each of the 6? No?
You have 5 stasis pods in the kind of crew segment of the ship, which is where your 5 cabins are as well. So there's like a small room with 5. There's 5 cabins, like suites, on the ship, and there are 5 stasis beds kind of that go with it. The remaining 75 stasis beds are in a kind of stasis chamber, so they're kind of all stacked up in one room.
So we just throw them all in stasis.
You could throw 75 into that room, and if you want to take an extra 2 on for an extra $2,000, you could throw 2 into like the spare beds in your kind of crew quarters, if you wanted to.
So Xanathar's kind of got this. I don't think his eyes are obscured, so you can see like behind his visor plate. His eyes are kind of like wide, like, oh, we could make a lot of burr here, and let's just fill up the 75 stasis pods with passengers, freeze them, we go to Jenna, and then we just drop them off later and collect our payment.
It's worth noting that your patron is in Dabaran, and you're meant to be going back there anyway to report to him after you've done your job here.
Yeah, I think Xanathar is all for it.
Yeah. Also, it's worth mentioning that your ship, you are in debt 1.4 million burr for this ship and the equipment on board. And the repayments that you have arranged for it are 70,000 burr per month. So you basically would be looking at a full, month's repayment of your debt plus 5K on top of that, just for delivering these people potentially.
Is there any particular stumbling block to just sleeping some traditionally in the hallways, etc.?
Okay, so there would be no problem with that normally, but you can't put people through a portal if they're not in stasis. They'll basically either mutate or they'll go crazy or they'll die. So although you have 40 standard cabins that can sleep people in in fair comfort, if they don't have stasis beds available to them, then
they'll turn into vegetable soup.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. Well, fair enough.
And they probably, the kind of functionaries on the ground they'd be asking you how many stasis beds you have. They're probably doing they're probably pulling up the schematics of your ship. So they'll be very much aware of the capacity, like in terms of stasis hold.
Okay.
What's the chance of us getting history on the people we plan on taking aboard? Like their public records and whatnot?
They won't give you any of that. They basically say the payment for these people are the people who have no money themselves. So these are the people who don't have their own ship. They didn't come here on their own ship. They're either people who live on the planet or are kind of pilgrims who've come on like public transport, so to speak.
Yeah, Xanathar nods to the captain like we should do this.
Yeah, seems fairly straightforward. Take on 77, I suppose.
No.
And Xanathar like shakes his head and says, not to 75.
Oh, 75.
I agree, 75. I don't want anyone else in with us.
All right.
And I would also like to catalog them as they come on the ship, have our AI get their skill sets.
Yep. So once you agree to it, it all happens reasonably quickly. I mean, they're waiting. They've got people kind of in ships. They actually have some ships already in orbit waiting for ships with stasis beds to kind of approach, and then they just kind of fill them up. So once you've agreed, you basically hand over the details of your ship, your own names as well. As a security precaution, those details are being checked to make sure that you're all, legit. There's no bounties on your head or anything like that.
And Xanathar has altered the blueprint slightly to obscure some like sensitive information as far as like with data gen sort of stuff.
Okay.
In case it's a ruse, he's going to try and build some protections in before he ships.
You'll have to roll for that. You have to roll data gen.
So I have 1 in data gen and my wits is 5, so that's 6.
Mm-hmm.
And do I get any bonuses or anything from my workstation or the computer
Nope.
or anything like that?
No successes. The dice icons aren't with you today, you guys.
I'm gonna push my roll.
Okay.
It was ever thus.
I'm going to have words with my bot later.
Mhm.
So you send a quick prayer to the messenger, who's the icon
Yeah.
for data gen.
So he was reformatting the file and it got corrupted, and so he's like cursing and like he's like almost like cursing the faceless one, and then prays to the one of the other ones, and he just feels like the odds are against him, but he can do this, so he tries a second time and resubmits it for reformatting to package it up and send it on.
Can I come up and massage his shoulders through his suit?
Don't touch me, I'm working.
Oh, sorry.
There we go. It's through. We should be fine.
So, fine. You managed to, with a limited success, you managed to hide a few of the systems that you don't want to be seen. They let you know that they're doing a full sensor scan of your ship. They're taking note of your ship's details, and those details will be sent on to Dabaran so that they'll know that you're to be paid, and in case you don't turn up, there will be a sizable bounty placed on your head, possibly even a Legion contract. So you're kind of warned against selling them as slaves, that sort of thing.
Mhm.
And then you have 75 people coming off of a very large transport vessel.
So while that's happening, can we be roaming from the docking port to the stasis chambers, and we're kind of like recording and like doing like spotlights of like the refugees and
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I want to stay by the door, fully loaded.
Okay. And we're out of time, so we're going to bring session 1 to a close as the first of the refugees are about to board the One for Sorrow. Thanks for listening to Mud and Blood Plays Coriolis. Our players can be found on Twitter. Adam is playing Kalia and has the handle Adam Attley, Attley. Charlotte is playing Luna and has the handle Foxfire22, that's fire spelled Fyre. Nathan is playing Xanathar and has the handle Script and Verse. Our intro and outro music is the track Valraven by Danish musician Danheim. Ambient music is from the Emmy Award-winning Tabletop Audio. Join us next week for the next installment of Fear and Loathing in the Third Horizon.